What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talk Punch, the place where we talk about all those nerdy things that you love talking about. Thanks so much for joining us. While you're here, make sure you go ahead and hit the like and subscribe, as well as that notification bell, so that you will be notified whenever a new episode comes out every Wednesday at noon to see what we're talking about. Kind of like this week's episode, we're talking Mortal Kombat, the new 2021 version of Mortal Kombat. I am Brody Hanson, joined by Charles Hickman. How's it going, Charlie?
Howdy. I watched the raw Mortal Kombat. I watched the 95. It's a beauty.
That's a fun movie.
It is a fun movie.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I'm sure that'll be brought up later. But all right, should we just dive in? Are we
Sure.
ready to go?
Yeah. So, Charlie, Mortal Kombat 2021 came out on HBO Max at the same time as theaters. It's part of this new release them simultaneously thing. I watched it the weekend that it came out. I texted my neighbor and said, "Who wants to watch Mortal Kombat?" And he said, "Come on over." So I went over and watched Mortal Kombat with my neighbor. What do you think of this movie, Charlie?
I texted all my neighbors and no one responded. So very sad. So I watched this actually last night, just because I like them to be fresh. So I popped it on. I look. I don't know how detailed you'd like me to be. This movie was not made for me. I like a good martial arts flick. I like a good action flick. This movie was like dark in weird places, and then and just kind of like boring in places. It was very light on plot and character development, and I felt a little bit like there's this great meme where no, you got to understand, like, it was so cool seeing Kano, and then he said his like catchphrase, and then oh my gosh, the guy with the hat threw his hat. That's so cool. Like I didn't play these games very much when I was growing up. So there was things that I feel like the script really took for granted in terms of like the knowledge that the audience might have of
Sure.
Brody, it's a movie called Mortal Kombat, and there was no Mortal Kombat. I mean, sure, they fought to the death, but they didn't even have the Mortal Kombat tournament.
Yeah,
I'm waiting the whole movie for a Mortal
there.
Kombat tournament. Never came. And I'm thinking, like, gosh, I don't remember Cole from the video games. I just don't remember that character.
Yeah.
And then I look it up and it's like, oh, we just made him up for this movie. This movie is full of characters, too many characters, and they add some random generic guy who's like, "Hi, I'm not actually very good at fighting." and then the whole thing is like just so random and all over the place. There were parts that I thought could have been interesting, and then they're like, no. It's starting to get a little too interesting. Let's switch it up. Let's do something weird here. It was just, I don't know. It was all over the place for me. As we go through the movie in more detail, I will give you more explanation for some of my feelings and sentiments. Look, if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, if you played the games religiously, if you enjoyed all of those experiences on the console, this movie was probably made for you, and you probably love it. Brody, you played a lot more Mortal Kombat. I was a Street Fighter kid. I didn't play a lot of the Mortal Kombats. You tell me, did you love? How much did you love? You loved it. You've loved it. You said.
I did like it. I thought it was super fun.
I knew it.
Charlie, aren't you so glad that you agreed to do this Talk Punch stuff with me so that you can watch all these movies that you would never watch normally?
I don't look. You can like. Yeah, seriously. Yeah. We need to have some different selection process, so I got to pick some things for you. But what part of this was fun? This was not a fun movie. This was like, it starts with like a child being frozen to death, and it's just basically like uncomedic action, like randomly put together. Like,
but the action was cool.
Heroes are basically put. It was fine. It wasn't like groundbreaking. It wasn't
like killing people
action.
with the knife on the rope. And
briefly.
Then...
For like 5 to 15 seconds in the beginning of the film. That was it. And then he brings it back, and he's never very effective with it outside of killing the jobbers. They're like, "We're here to die one at a time."
Who scored? Oh, in the beginning.
Yeah. In the beginning, yeah.
Yeah. And then he fought Sub-Zero. And their fight at the end was really cool. I liked that. I liked the little fights going through. I don't know. They had a couple of the fatalities. Kung Lao cutting that girl in half. Come on, you didn't watch that and go like, oh.
I don't know if it's just like the digital effects or whatever, but like even some of like the blood splatter and gore, it just doesn't. It's not vibrant. It's not interesting. It was just kind of like, okay, cool, yeah, she got sawed in half, I guess. And then he's like, perfect round or whatever he said when he touched
flawless
his hat,
victory.
Yeah, that's the one. Which I'm sure is like people from the game.
It's a game reference.
Said the thing. He said the thing.
Even him going like that. Even him going like that is a game thing. That's what he would do when he would win a match.
That's great. Look, I went through the entire movie thinking that Cole giving an uppercut had something to do with the game. Like the girl's like, give him the uppercut.
I think it was supposed to, because the uppercut was powerful in the game. You would always want to do it.
But okay, all right. But I thought, okay, whoever this Cole character was in this game, that apparently I completely missed that they even existed, had some kind of wicked uppercut. But turns out just a failed MMA fighter who can uppercut. I don't know. It's like,
yeah, right. Well, and that's so Cole is like the big weak part of this for me. I didn't really care about Cole.
You mean the centerpiece of the movie was the weak part for you?
Yeah.
The spine of the film, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't really like him. I thought he was kind of lame.
He was.
His power was lame.
Yes.
He just like gets a shirt and like some like two like billy clubs or something. One of them had like a blade because he cut up one of the fighters. But yeah, for the sequel,
it didn't look good either.
The movie or Cole or
no his out. I did not like the design of his outfit and his little like billy club fist things. It didn't look cool.
Yeah, and like
not only was the power kind of bland, like the suit just was like.
Yeah, I got it. He got it, and I was like, "Oh, that's it." He got like an Under Armour shirt, like.
Yeah.
And then he was like absorbing like blows, but then did he get like a powerful? What does that do?
It didn't seem like it was like. It just like he could absorb it. Like he was in the beginning they called him a punching bag, and then they turned him into a literal punching bag, where it didn't like benefit him, but he could just take it. He could soak up the damage.
Yeah,
tire his opponents out.
So that was a weak point for me. But the other fighters, like the actual Mortal Kombat guys, I liked them. I thought that Kano was funny. I enjoyed Kano. You didn't think Kano was funny?
I did not find him to be amusing. And look, this is delicate. Whenever you're creating a film and you have a purposefully obnoxious character,
which he was,
he was. It's a difficult line because you have to write it in such a way where there's something redeemable or charming enough or funny enough about the character that you can forgive the obnoxious nature. Now, maybe if I played the game and had some kind of attachment to the Kano character more. Look, I did play, by the way. I played the original Mortal Kombat and a couple of the other incarnations, but I tapped out, pun intended, I guess, before we got, there are 9 or 10 different combats here.
Oh, there's like 12 or something. And honestly, I haven't played any of the new ones. Like, I was really into like 1 through 3, and then I haven't really played any aside from like Injustice, which had Scorpion and Sub-Zero and some stuff like that. But I haven't gotten into any of the newer ones. And so I enjoyed Kano.
I didn't find him funny. I thought he was a. God, good eye, mate. I got a laser eye. I'm gonna terminate you with my laser eye.
Oh, I thought it was funny. Like when Sonya Blade was like, "Oh, I don't have an Arcana," and just in the background, he's like, "Wah wah." I was like, it made me laugh. Oh, yeah. Charlie, this is why we need to like live closer so that we can watch these together, and maybe me enjoying these not great movies will help you to enjoy it more.
I put it on. And my wife watched the first part of it before she went to bed, and I think she was also expecting it to be a little bit funnier or campier or just like more actiony. And then right at the beginning, the little son's doing like the move and then freeze him to death and kill the whole family. And she's like, well, that's not as fun as I thought it was going to be. I'm going to bed. like it wasn't that fun. And she was right. She was right to go to bed. Fun is not the word I would use to describe this movie, but. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And look, You don't look, if you like Mortal Kombat, you don't need me to tell you that it's no good. Go watch it and you'll probably love it. So
it's just streaming on HBO Max. It's not like it costs you money.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, look. If you didn't play the games, though,
so for me, as I've kind of reflected on this and thought about this and talked to a couple people, this kind of falls in similar line to Godzilla versus Kong, right? I enjoy it. The story is loose, you know. I don't care that much about the story. There's some characters in it that I'm like, I really don't care about you. You know, like you can, if you were to the movie, I'd be fine with it. And then there's the action sequences that I really like, you know, and would I want to go pay money in the theater to see either of these movies? And no, I wouldn't. If I paid $30 for me and Amy to go see this in the theater, I'd be like, like that could have waited. But to just watch it on HBO, it's like, yeah, man, that was fun. Yeah. And it was, you know, hour and 50 minutes or something like that. And then you're done, you know. And so I had fun with it. I'm looking forward to the sequel. Aren't you looking forward to the sequel, Charlie?
Like, I'm glad you brought up Godzilla Kong, because I was thinking about that and about how you didn't really need to know anything about the source material going, and you didn't need to know anything about Godzilla or King Kong.
Sure.
And you could just watch the movie and just enjoy the action and stuff like this. How many realms are there? Who are these other gods? Like, how many people compete in the Mortal Kombat tournaments? Cole was born with the mark of the Mortal Kombat. I mean, his daughter also has the mark every generation, or is it only boys that get it? In which case, there's just coincidentally been a boy in every generation.
No, I think it just passes on once you die.
How come? No, he said he's had it since birth. Did his whole family die at birth? He said he got it when he was born.
I think that every single person, starting from Scorpion, died, and then it went to the kid, maybe like the oldest kid or something like that.
He had to have parents. His parents were wiped out and killed, and then but while he was a baby as well. He's not the 17th century baby. That was the 17th century Japan baby that had babies and babies and babies and babies and babies and babies and babies. I know he said he made a line where he said he was an orphan, but I mean, so just every person in this generation is just born and then immediately orphaned and then gets the mark.
I don't know.
So he's just gonna grow up. He's gonna have the mark until he's like 90, and then his daughter suddenly is gonna inherit the mark of the champion with no training at like 65. And she's like, "Oh, here's this more." Anyway, there's just a lot of things that it didn't explain. It kind of like through these like what do you mean he got banished to hell for what? For dying, defending his family? Like, why? He spent all this time in hell and he trained the fire, and then it's like a throwaway line. Let's watch that movie. Let's watch the movie of him like traversing through hell and learning to tame the fire of hell, and then coming back for revenge. That's a movie. Get rid of Cole. Give me that movie. Give me Hanzo fighting demons in hell and taming the hellfire to come back and then exact his revenge. That's a movie I would watch.
Sure.
Anyway, I just felt like there was a lot of like inconsistencies. Whether it was Cole saying, "I need to leave my family to keep them safe," and then immediately saying, "Well, I'm going to come back to my family and their safety be damned," or it was like, what are we doing here? And it's like the stakes are, the world is about to end. Oh well, it didn't work out. I'm going to go home. I'm going to go. It was just so like uneven, and the plot was so.
The plot was weird, and I was bummed that there wasn't a tournament.
Give me Mortal Kombat in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that. And that's why I look forward to the sequel. I think that the sequel will be better. Maybe they'll kill off Cole. I thought that Cole was going to become Scorpion. Like, he got all this. All of his colors are yellow. Like, his shirt is now yellow, and I'm like, oh, okay, so he's gonna inherit the mantle of Scorpion then.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe they'll do that for the sequel. I don't know. I don't
Maybe.
know. One thing that was weird for me that like immediately I kind of picked up on was that I've always viewed Sub-Zero as the good guy and Scorpion as the bad guy. And so when they started this and we're seeing Scorpion's family and Sub-Zero killing them, I'm like, I don't understand. Like, how is this going to be flipped? But then it wasn't like Sub-Zero was just the bad guy and Scorpion was the good guy, and I was like, that's very odd for me. And granted, I haven't played a whole lot of the newer games, and so I don't know if that's something that is part of the newer games or not. But I was like, it was strange. I got over it, but initially I was like, that's not how I've ever played it. But we'll go through a lot of this stuff as we kind of go through the plot, and we can just pick on things as we go. There's a lot to pick on.
Yeah,
it's not like
And look, I got my nitpicking out of the way here in the beginning. We'll try to go through the plot. I'll try not to be too.
Oh, I can't wait to make fun of some of this stuff, though, Charlie.
All right.
So start us out. Where do we start?
We are
Mortal Kombat.
We start in 17th century Japan, Brody, in a humble but nice farm.
Yeah.
We see Hanzo and his family, the beautiful baby and his wife, and his oldest son, who was adorable. He is going off, which, by the way, they made it seem like he was going very far away. And then when he came running back to the house because he finally heard her scream after apparently not hearing, I don't even know who's getting killed, by the way, in the beginning, because there was like people getting slaughtered out in front. Did he have bodyguards? I don't know. I feel like it didn't show anyone else, but other people died. He didn't hear that. And then he just comes running, and he's like 15 seconds off frame. He's like, home. Like I don't know. It was weird that like he was that close. It was like he was like oddly close to home to not hear anything until it was too late.
He was like at the stream getting water.
And she why? And I thought Hanzo was look. This is my limited knowledge. I didn't know Hanzo was Scorpion. I thought Hanzo was like the baby. She hid the baby, and they came in. And he's like, "Where's Hanzo?" I thought, "Oh, she's hiding the baby. She certainly can't tell him where the baby is because then he'll kill the baby." But it turns out her very talented, like combat trained husband is 30 seconds away, and she's going to keep the secret at the cost of her son's life. Just be like, "Oh, he's up the hill. Go fight him. That's great." Or like, I'll stall or I'll scream now to get his attention. But she's just, I don't know, it was weird. Or like, "Son, go run and I will be frozen here." It was weird. Like the setup was just like very odd. And then Hanzo killed all those people, which was a lot of fun. And then was not nearly as good as Scorpion apparently as Sub-Zero at hand-to-hand, and he dies.
I was very confused as they were talking because Scorpion was speaking Japanese and Sub-Zero was speaking Chinese, and it was saying Chinese and Japanese at the bottom, and I'm like, and especially like when Sub-Zero was talking to the wife, and it was like speaking Chinese and Japanese, and I was like, what is happening right now? And I thought that like the subtitles had like messed up somehow because I don't speak Chinese or Japanese, so I can't tell the difference like when they're just speaking a foreign language. So it wasn't until Scorpion and Sub-Zero were talking, and I think Scorpion was like, "I can't understand what you're saying," and it's like, "Oh, okay, so they're just talking like at each other." They're
it was interesting. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely, and then it was, I think it was odd. And so then we get our first shot of Raiden, God of Thunder. Eat your heart out, Thor. He shows up and lifts the floorboard and says, "Baby," and takes him.
Yeah.
So there you go. And that was kind of like our intro to the film.
Yeah.
From here, we get to meet everyone.
Did it say in the very beginning that it was taking place in like the 16th, 17th century? Did it say that, or did it just?
I don't know if I don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember if it said it or if I just looked it up.
Okay, I was a little confused on the timeline at first, because then we get to Cole, and Cole's like, "I was an orphan," and so I had to think like, Cole wasn't the kid that Raiden picked up, like. Yeah, and so I just assumed that
which also probably would have been a better story, by the way. Like, like his actual son seeking revenge after being trained by a god of thunder, like that. I was like, okay, at least we get to. I was like, the frozen kid thing was like, dude, I don't like that. But you're telling me like that this baby is now going to go get trained by a god of thunder to become like a tremendous warrior and exact revenge. No, we got to wait like a few hundred years, 300
hundreds of years or something like that. And so that, but like,
and they do the tournament every year?
No, it's like every 50 years, I think.
Every 50 years. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I was a little confused on the timeline there because I was like,
wait,
that seems like it was like really old, but Cole wouldn't be that old. I don't know. Do people maybe people still live like that in Japan? I don't know.
So how long did Jax have the mark?
Jax? Oh, I don't know.
Because if they have 50 years between tournaments, I'm confused as to why only 2 people had trained until like a week before the most important tournament in Earth's history. Like,
it's true.
Why weren't they? Why wasn't he just lightning beaming people to his temple to train them? And then everyone's like mad at the people who had no idea that this even existed. Apparently, until like a few hours ago, like, why aren't you better at this already? And it's like, you had 50 years to like bring people here and train them.
It's true.
And then all of a sudden, anyway, whatever.
It's true. I don't know.
Does there still need to be a tournament, by the way? Like, they defeated the people pre-tournament.
No, there is
still a tournament?
because in the end, Shang Tsung said that death isn't the end or something like that, and ghosted away his.
Well, he's coming with his armies.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so we see Cole lose very untriumphantly in a just MMA fight. He didn't control the cage, and he certainly did not uppercut. So there's that.
Yeah, his daughter, like, horrible manager. She's like, "Don't tap out, don't tap." It is like, dude, like, what do you mean don't tap out? Like, you're in like a chokehold. What do you want? What do you like?
Beauty. But later on in the movie, Sonya gets put in a chokehold, by the way, and she just like is fine. And they do this in movies a lot, where they do the chokehold, and then when it's convenient, the chokehold works quickly, and when it's not convenient, the chokehold doesn't work. Do you remember the time that we tried a chokehold on our friend the Bone?
The Bone. I remember that. It's on video someplace, and you said, "Tell me when you can't breathe."
And like 3 seconds into the chokehold, she's passing out. It's fast. It works fast.
It does.
You completely cut off the oxygen. It works very fast. And ever since then, every time in a movie where someone's like just in a legit chokehold and they're all like just struggling around, like, I'm like, nope, that's not. I know how that works. I tested that.
Yeah, no, that's
try it at home, kids. Ask your dad or mom to just sit there and take a chokehold and see how long until they pass out.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So, okay, so it's Cole and his daughter. This was another thing I was very confused about initially.
Yes.
I didn't know that was his daughter. I thought it was like a girlfriend or something like that.
Oh.
Well, I couldn't really see like how old she was initially. I just saw that there was like a girl or a woman. I couldn't tell. She could have been like a 20. I don't know. So I didn't know who she was. Because, like, at one point he's walking with, like, his arm around her, like, at the end. And I was like, okay, it must be, like, a girlfriend or something. And then they show up.
They could have established relationships
and so then they show up.
Cleaner,
they show up and get ice cream. And he starts making out with, like, her mom. And I was like, what? Cole is talking to this manager guy. And he's like, okay, who do you have in your corner? Cole could have said, my daughter.
Yeah.
Just like
clean and easy.
Yep. Because
that was confusing. Yeah.
There's already like this reaction of like, oh, like good luck. Like all you needed to say, my daughter. Yeah. That's all you needed. It would have like totally avoided the really weird confusion of me having to figure out like, okay, who is this girl then?
Yeah, it was odd. They did not do a good job really establishing anybody's character. No, that's right. So after they're sitting there, they're eating their ice cream. Things start to get really cold. Sub-Zero shows up. There's ice flying in the air. We got Jax rolling up in his car, and they get in the car, and it's unclear if Sub-Zero can just track anyone that has the mark, or if there's like some supernatural element to how he's able to find them at any point in time. But for whatever reason, he corners them, and Jax is like, rather than us driving away in my fast car, I'm going to go ahead and take these guns to shoot at whatever that is that's like summoning ice with his bare hands. You guys go ahead. This will be fine. Because either he can find them and they're better off fighting together because there's nowhere safe to hide, or he can't find them, in which case drive away. But also a good option is to take guns to it's very, very American. I'm going to grab my guns. I'm going to go shoot this thing I don't understand. I'm teasing, but like but he got the guns, and you're like, oh, okay, this guy's about to die. And the fight scene was very brief and very uninteresting, and his arms got frozen off. In fact, you could even say that Sub-Zero disarmed him.
Oh wow, nice.
Oh yeah,
nice. I like it.
Yes. All right.
Yeah. See, this part was.
What did you think of that? What did you think of that fight scene?
This part was in the trailer, and so I knew that it was coming. It was fine. I don't really remember the fight itself. I remember the shotgun blast where Sub-Zero freezes
the bullet,
like the bullets before it comes out, and that was really cool. It was really cool to see, like, just and Sub-Zero's just like
that was a nice visual.
Like,
you're right.
Okay, like, who are you? And then like does the arm thing and then freezes it, and you see like his blood like starting to burst, like within the ice, and then he just and that was neat. And then Jax took a fall where he like slammed his head on like 2 stories down. They don't address the head injury. Sure. They don't address the head injury, but like the arms, they work on that. But he hit that, and I was like, oh, that's one of those like, oh gosh, like, yeah.
His mustache though was like grade A. Like that was a nice stash.
There you go.
So above all other things, I did approve of this stash. But yeah, I thought, okay, well, they killed him very unceremoniously.
Yeah.
Okay, on we go. And I was surprised to see him show up later with his very tiny robot arms. It's very, very ridiculous. We've searched the universe and all the realms for. He's like, all right. And
he had to earn them.
And by the way, and he was like dead, and we don't know how to help him. And then for whatever reason, the tiny robot arms brought him back to life. Like all that his heart needed to pump blood was mechanical arms for some reason. Like he wasn't conscious. He was like dead in there.
He was.
Like, oh, we've searched the realms to cure him, and we found nothing. And then he's like, hey, look at me.
Maybe he was just in a coma.
They went to Earth and they grabbed like the claw machine claws that come down to grab the toys. Got 2 of those and attached them to his arms. All right, here we go.
It's like a nightstand light that's got like 2 little bars that just kind of goes like that.
Yeah, the Pixar lamp for sure.
Yeah, it's the Pixar lamp. Just put 2 of those on him, and he's good.
We're getting a little ahead of ourselves because before we get to Jackson, his very tiny arms, we go off to Gary, Indiana, which I don't like. Why has Gary, Indiana become like the most famous city in Indiana? I know Michael Jackson was from there. I know the Wells Fargo wagon is coming to town in Gary, Indiana from the Music Man. But I feel like anytime there's like in a movie, we need a city in middle America, it's going to be Gary, Indiana. So anyway, they're off to Gary, Indiana, and we get our first introduction to Sonya and Kano. Now, I know you said you liked Kano. What'd you think of Sonya?
She was fine, I guess. She was. I don't know what was her like standout characteristic? How did she stand out from everybody else? And I don't know that I could even tell you.
Well, she was the one female good guy, so there's that.
That's true.
And I think I thought they were supposed to make her like really good with like knives and swords, although that didn't become as much of a thing as I thought it would. Like Sonya Blade I just assumed there'd be
No,
more.
she wasn't like a sword.
Blades.
She wasn't a sword person. She was more like a soldier. She did like a lot of leg stuff.
Then her last name, she should have been like Sonya Kick or something like that, or Sonya Lunge, Sonya Blade, and she doesn't even get blades.
I don't know.
Anyway, so we meet her and we meet Kano and look, I didn't really care for a lot of the acting in this film, and I just didn't think there was a lot of charisma coming off of a lot of the actors. Whether that was the actors themselves or just a byproduct of the script, I'm not really sure. But we get some very snappy dialogue. We get Kano in chains, and then we get the like the reptile, I guess is his name, just reptile.
Yeah. It was a reptile something, but I don't know if it was like the reptile or if it was a reptile. I don't know. Because normally, like the reptile looks like Scorpion and Sub-Zero. You know, it's just green and black instead of the other colors. So
right,
yeah, I was kind of like, okay, maybe that's reptile. I don't know.
I think it was probably supposed to be. I mean, I don't know why they would just. I was about to say why would they just invent another character to put in there, but I guess the main character is just some dude. So who knows? Maybe they're just inventing. But they referred to him as reptile anyway. But yeah, so that was an interesting fight scene. He's invisible and then gets stabbed with a flare. All that. So what do you think of that sequence?
That was cool. I liked that. You had Reptile who was going in and out of invisibility. You had them trying to attack it, and finally it got the flare stuck in it, and Sonya started throwing knives at it and then hit Kano in the leg. And Kano got mad. He's like, "You did it on purpose." With my own knife, with
my own knife.
Again, made me laugh. Made me laugh.
I know you love yourself some Kano. Do you think that the character of Reptile was based on Randall from Monsters Inc.? Reptile becoming invisible, not invisible, hard to kill.
Possible. I don't know.
Okay, all right.
I mean, now that you mention it, it could.
I don't know what came first. You let us know if you're a big Mortal Kombat buff. 2001's Monster Inc. character Randall, or Reptile, who can turn himself invisible at will in a reptilian form, looking somewhat like Randall.
Interesting.
Understand.
So then, after all that, we get Kano that gets loose and then pulls the heart out of Reptile, which is one of his famous fatalities in the game.
Kano wins.
Kano wins. So that was fine.
It's fine.
Yeah. It was cool to see his fatality.
There you go. Yeah, so, absolutely. All right. So, so after that, Sonya bribes him with money she doesn't have to go to Raiden's temple.
You don't have $3 million. You're living in this thing. And then he's like, "Do you really have $3 million?" And she's like, "No, I'm living in this thing." I was like, okay. He doesn't ask for proof. He's just like taking her word. Nope. He's not like, "I need $1 million now and $2 million later." Like she's just like, "I have $3 million to give you," and he's like, "Okay, let's travel halfway across the world without any proof, like any down payment, nothing." It's just like, "Okay, let's go."
Yeah, the writers are like, "Okay, we need to get him to this temple," and then he's like, "I would have gone anyway." Bully on you. I don't know what. And he's kind of British and Australian all at the same time. Who knows? But so they all travel to this temple, and apparently they've known about this temple, but have not been to the temple. I don't know how long they've known about it, why they haven't gone yet. Anyway. So
Sonya's been putting everything together on her string picture board, which, that hasn't been overdone.
And that seems like the best way for Earth to have to find out about the Mortal Kombat tournament is to have someone who's not even in it put together a conspiracy theory board about all the little parts connecting with string. Yeah. And instead of sending Earth's actual chosen heroes to go find them, like they do at the end of this movie, by the way, they're like, "Well, let's try something different. Why don't you guys go find some people that have the mark on them and bring them back here? That'll be great. It'll work better this time." But yeah, so they they get to the temple. We see
Well,
Tiny Arm Jax.
they jump out of a plane into the middle of the desert and then just start walking. Like no food, no water. They're in the Australian desert. They don't really know where they're going. I don't think Kano really knows where he's going because he was just like, we're almost there, or something like that.
We're almost there.
Yeah. So it was a good thing that they ran into Liu Kang, who himself was just wandering in the desert.
Why not? What else do you do in the desert, Brody? You wander.
Yeah, exactly.
What did you think of Liu Kang and Kung Lao? What did you think of the way they did those guys?
I really liked Kung Lao. I thought he was really cool. He was.
Yeah. What'd you like about him?
I liked the way that he fought. I liked that he had his hat thing. I liked that he was like the chosen champion kind of guy, and Liu Kang was like, but I kind of want to be the champion too. They had like this little competition thing. It seemed like going on.
Was there anyone that they did dirtier in this movie than Liu Kang? Is he the worst character to play in the game? Is he like the worst fighter? Because Sub-Zero shows up and just whoops him in 5 seconds flat or less, and he's about to die. Then he gets whooped one-on-one in the next battle, and then even in the end, when he's having his redemptive battle, he only wins because his opponent gets trapped in a quicksand, and he can't move. And so he kind of lucks into a victory, and he's got the fire, and he brings out this dragon, which looks cool. But I mean, they did him dirty, man. He was terrible. He was the worst fighter in the whole movie.
Yeah, but
he lost every battle. He was
he was really good at the leg sweep, which made me laugh.
That was my go-to with Guile. He did the quick punches,
right?
My Street Fighter cheap punch, sweep, punch, throw.
Yeah.
It was fun.
And same thing in Mortal Kombat is the sweep. Where you can just, sweep. And so
sweep.
That made me laugh because that was a very clear, hey, you've played the video games.
Right, yeah.
You know this, you can easily just spam the sweep. That made me laugh.
That was one of the few references that I did get. I didn't get all the video game references, but that one.
Because that was a crossover to Street Fighter reference.
I had a hunch whenever they would stop and then the camera would do a zoom in and they would say some ridiculous line. I'm like, that's got to be from the game. Otherwise, what are we doing here? If Kano never says Kano wins, what are we doing here? Burn the script. Flawless victory. It's the first. If that's the first time anyone's uttered that phrase, then we what's going on here? What are we doing? So, I kind of figured they were references, but they didn't warm my heart. All right, so the training begins.
Yeah.
Right. What did you think of the training montages and sequences and things like that?
So what we had the sparring between people. We had Liu Kang versus Kano. We had Cade, right? That's his name. Yeah, Cade. Cole. That's how memorable he was, is I can't even remember his name. We had Cole versus Kung Lao, where Cole is just getting beat up, and then Sonya doesn't really get to fight with anybody because she's not really a champion, right?
She doesn't have the mark. Yeah, she's not. She's just kind of there.
So
you knew right away. It's okay, she's gonna have to kill someone with a mark to get that mark.
Are there other people in this temple? What was happening in this temple before those three showed up? Was it just Liu Kang, Kung Lao, and Raiden hanging out?
Yep, they're just hanging out. The guy's tossing his hat around. They're making fire and lightning and just kind of chilling, and apparently not training any Earth champions for the most important Mortal Kombat tournament of all time.
It's because this coming up is the 10th. They've lost the 9th, and if Shang Tsung wins the 10th, then they get to invade Earth.
Yeah, it seems very arbitrary and just very strange. But yes, that's apparently how it goes. And then also early in the movie, he's like, "Oh, we better not let Lord Raiden know what we're doing, otherwise he'll get upset." And then they just blatantly walk up to him and like, "Hey, we're here to kill everyone. No big deal. Sorry, we had a change of heart. 10 minutes ago, we were like, we don't want you to find out, but now we're like, man, what are you gonna do? Go ahead, try to stop us." I thought that was kind of odd. But anyway, you liked the training was kind of fun, right?
Yeah, the training was fun. It was, we had like montages. We got kind of the explanation of the arcana. So like everybody gets a special power, and
Right.
Kano, that was another funny thing that I thought Kano did was when Liu Kang did the fireball and Kano was like, "Are we going to get special powers?" It made me laugh. I thought Kano was funny.
I didn't think there were no funny lines that he had. I just, on whole, he was quite obnoxious.
And so they're all like trying to unlock their arcanas, right? And so,
Correct.
so they're pushing them, physically and emotionally, trying to unlock whatever their arcana is going to be. They're just beating up Cole. They're trying to like physically beat him up to bring about his thing. They beat up Kano and then kind of figure out that his kind of shows up with like anger because he was getting really frustrated at Kung Lao for not passing the egg rolls, and so he got the laser eye, which was cool, but like Kano, and again maybe this is different for some of these newer games. For the first couple games, like he always had like a metal piece right there, which I always thought looked really cool. And like it's a really like striking thing to have a guy with like a big chunk of his face just be metal, and like that's a neat thing to display. And they didn't do that. Maybe that'll be coming in the second one or something like that.
Well, he's dead, so.
But is Shang Tsung going to bring him back? All those people can't be. They'll have to come back. They're all coming back. Sub-Zero's not dead. Charlie, you can't kill Sub-Zero. They're coming back.
I didn't write the script.
I think they're coming back.
Okay.
And so it was interesting that it just came out of his one eye. Like that's his power, is like a one eye laser. I would have liked to have seen like the metal over his eye, and then something happened through that.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fight training as well as trying to unlock these arcana powers.
Very cool. So speaking of these powers, Cole, our boy, just can't seem to get it up, and so he decides. Raiden's like, "Hey, you are no good at this, and even though you're humanity's like only hope, and it'd be better to have you go out there and maybe win, but probably die. Why don't you go on and get out of here?" And he's like, "You know what? It was too dangerous for me before with my family, but I'm going to go ahead and do that." And by the way, if talk to your families out there, you who have spouses and children, and come up with a plan that if ever your significant other is taken away to some kind of Mortal Kombat tournament by wizards and sorcery and ancient powers and things like this, and it's too dangerous for them to be around you, and you have to pack everything you have and get out of Dodge. We don't need to go back to the bathroom and grab shampoo. We don't need to take every article of clothing. That is the slowest packing job I have ever seen in my entire life. They are packing literally everything. This isn't like, hey, they're not coming to burn the house down. They're coming to kill you. Like, grab a couple of overnighters and get out. They got huge suitcases. They got trunks that are full of all their articles of clothing. She's going to the bathroom like, oh, what else did we miss? Like, oh, my toothbrush. Oh, can't get a new one of these. I can always replace the daughter, but a toothbrush. And so this kind of ushers in. Cole comes home, and then we have this kind of like our big not climactic because the ending, I guess, but our big kind of like confrontational battle here.
Sure.
Why don't you walk us through, bro?
So we had right before this, we had Shang Tsung kind of talking to his like lead fighters, his generals. We had Melina, we had the Flying Girl, we had General something.
Wait. Is her name the Flying Girl? I need to look
No,
this up.
it's not. She has a name. And then the general...
Is it Batgirl?
No, it's not. And then
Zubat.
And then the general guy with the big hammer, he was in there. We got Sub-Zero. And then he calls on Prince Goro, who has one...
Maybe Natara.
I think she came in later games. That's...
Okay.
She came in after Mortal Kombat 3.
Okay.
So I wouldn't know.
I didn't remember the bat, so it's good that you said that.
And then General something. What was the guy with the hammer? General
Grievous.
No, no, that's different. So
You sure? That sounds very familiar to me.
So we get.
I'm looking for General. I don't see General. Goro, maybe?
No. Goro is because Goro is Prince Goro.
Oh yeah.
But Goro has won the past. He's won for 500 years. He's won the Mortal Kombat tournament. So he's.
Well, he has 4 arms, so.
Yeah. Yep. It's true. And so Shang Tsung kind of disperses his people to go and take all these guys out. We did get okay. Now in this, because Shang Tsung attacked first, and Raiden put a force field around the temple, right?
Right.
And so is this them going initially, or is this them going? No, this is them going the second time.
This is the second. So Kano has turned heel.
Yeah.
And decided to, shockingly, no one could see that coming, that he would betray his dear close friends, and that's all because
he was friends with Cabal. That I thought was funny. Cabal.
Raiko.
Oh yeah,
General
General Raiko. So Cabal was interesting. I remember him from Mortal Kombat 3. He was fun to play, and I liked him in this movie. He had like he's wearing this big mask, but then just has like a normal voice. You'd almost think he would have like a mechanical voice or something like that. He was just like, oh, I know Kano. I used to run with him. Like it was just weird.
At least it wasn't like this kind of. Oh, I know Kano. We're good friends. I'll talk to him.
It might as well have been though. It was just like this.
Yeah, it was a little bit more like almost like a New York. He's like, yeah, me and Kano, we wicked smart, we friends. Although that's a little bit of Boston, a little New York. I don't know what I'm talking about over here. But yeah, we go way back. No problem. I'll talk to him. We'll work it out.
It was just like this.
Come on, betray everybody. Come on.
It was such a
we got money over here. Come on.
It was such a random voice.
Yeah, it was odd. It was odd.
And the voice wasn't the actor. Like they had the actor, and then they had somebody do a voice over
auditions?
It. Like it's like,
all right, okay. Hey, get over here. You got an interesting sound. You want to be in a movie? Come on.
Oh.
Yeah, I did think that was odd. I agree. The voice was a little bit jarring, and I did.
And
it wasn't as bad as like.
How did he start working for Shang Tsung?
Like the Bane and Batman 3. Come on.
How did he start working for Shang Tsung? He just like he had the mark, and Shang Tsung was like, "Hey, come over here." I don't know. It was.
I don't know how it all works, Brody, and they
certainly
did not explain it.
I don't know either. But Cabal got Kano to destroy the force field so then they could attack. And so
yeah.
So then we kind of get like another kind of montage of all these battles. You know, with one of the big ones being Goro going to Cole's house and Cole getting beat up and seeing that his family was in danger, and that's what activates his arcana. So he gets like this armor, shirt, and just like a policeman billy club, and a policeman billy club, but that has like a blade on it. And then he was able to defeat Goro. He sliced off his hand, and then he like cut into him. It was pretty gruesome.
Yeah, his guts fell out.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have been in the pitch meeting when they're like talking about Cole, and they're like, all right, what do we give him? Like, do we give him swords or like, you know, some kind of power that he can shoot? And someone's like, billy clubs, 2 of them, but one is sharp. Like, yeah, that's it. That's the one.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I guess that's not a popular weapon in the Mortal Kombat universe already, but clearly someone was a big Boss Man fan, so I'm just throwing that out there.
It's true. I had heard that Cole was like a studio requirement. It like popped up on my news feed of like the studio required
Like,
them
but
to
why?
to create this new character or something like that. I don't know.
Why not just have like Johnny Cage or one of the like infinite number of like random? If you just wanted some generic guy,
because we'll get to Johnny Cage a little bit later, Charlie. Come on.
I know.
All right, so we get all these fights. So we get, you know, Cole, who just got his Arcana, is not a good fighter, doesn't understand any of this, is able to defeat Prince Goro, who has won the Mortal Kombat tournament 10 times in a row. Or I guess 9 times, because this would be the 10th.
Yeah, not 10.
So yeah, so that was interesting. It was kind of like, you know, I don't know. Again, it's the Cole character. I just don't get. I don't connect with him. I don't really enjoy him.
Yeah.
His power I thought was lame when it came across him. I was kind of like, okay, like I thought they were going to do something cool with him absorbing like the energy from the punches, like oh he's absorbing like kinetic energy and he's going to be able to do something really cool. Well, no. Like he does the uppercut and then like slices him up. Okay. All right.
Yep.
Sure.
Do the uppercut.
So, yeah. But the other stuff, after that we had Kung Lao versus the Flying Girl, and that's when we got the flawless victory with the fatality that I enjoyed, because it was really gruesome. Man, you saw like everything split open.
Saw. Nicely done.
Yep. I meant to do that.
Yeah, you did.
We got Liu Kang versus Cabal, in which Cabal got stuck in like the tar stuff, and Liu Kang.
No, that's later. That's later.
Oh, that's later.
And this one, Cabal just totally demolishes. Liu Kang is just
because he was doing his like super speed stuff.
Yeah, and he's just
right.
totally just embarrassing him out there. And he's like,
right.
no, but look, a fireball, and then he would shoot it and just miss.
That's right, because that's when they all split up and they go to the different realms.
Yeah.
Who did Liu Kang fight here then?
He battled the Batgirl and sawed her in half.
No, Liu Kang. That was Kung Lao.
But no, he fought Cabal and lost.
Oh, he fought Cabal and then lost. Okay.
He was outclassed completely. I mean, everyone lost, and then like Sonya loses.
Sonya lost, but she wouldn't get killed because it wasn't worth it to Melina. She's like, you don't even have the mark, so I'm not.
She'll come to regret that.
I'm not going to waste my time on you.
Jax loses. Everyone loses.
Jax with his tiny arms.
They do get big, Brody. Randomly, they turn big, which I didn't really. Apparently, that's his like.
Is that his Arcana? Is that
I guess, but they're permanently big now. So it didn't make a lot of sense because everyone. It's not like he's, Kano's not out there permanently shooting a laser eye and
yeah.
So they didn't like shrink back down after he got strength and then all of a sudden his arms were big, and much better looking, like more like robot arms.
Yeah.
And then he was just like that for the rest of the film. So it was unclear to me if that was like some just. I don't know. His whole story arc,
or if that was
very
like
strange.
Just what needed to happen for the next step of the arms.
Yeah, because Arcana unlocked the ability to grow metal. Yeah. I don't know. It was a strange.
Yeah. So Sonya got like pinned beneath some rocks, and Jax tried to lift him with his little arms. Your little arms, and he couldn't do it. And then all of a sudden they turned big, and he was able to do it. So there you go.
There you go. And then, so then we go. So then this was like great. I mean, always a classic. So Cole gets back there through the lightning, travels.
Yeah.
And then Raiden's like, "Hey, you know who this guy is? He's the chosen one. You were prophesied about. He's gonna kill all you people. Now I'm gonna slowly lightning travel everyone out of here." And after he reveals like the whole like plan, and they're like, wait a minute, let's just kill him now. And they knock him out of the thing. And then that leads to Kung Lao getting his soul sucked. because he has to stick around to try to save him because for whatever reason, Raiden decided, I need to brag about this plan right now and show off a little bit that we have the blood of Hanzo here. He could have just transfer everyone out of there and just let it be a surprise, or transfer everyone out and stay, and then be like, oh, by the way, you know who that was? Hanzo's blood, son. And then just transfer it out. But anyway, so we get to see someone's soul get sucked out,
which I was sad to see because I was enjoying Kung Lao.
Yeah.
He was like the one good fighter of the whole bunch.
He was like the only one that was like had any skills.
And like, where was everybody else? Were they just standing there watching, or were they?
Some people had already ridden the lightning, took a ride on the lightning.
Okay.
I'm not sure why look. Let me be honest with you. This is just bad riding. Is what happened here. But, and then Kung Lao gets his soul sucked. But according to you, he'll be back anyway, so it's okay.
Well, I don't know about the good guys. I know Shang Tsung seemed to take away the bad guys. I don't know about the good guys though.
That hat is iconic. You cannot take away the hat.
I hope they bring him back. I hope they bring him back. They probably won't.
Well,
they probably won't.
So then they're in the void, right? They go to the void. And
that's right. Like between realms.
Like all we really needed to win was to just regroup here and then just go take them one at a time. And so they did. And then you get these kind of like individual battles that are pretty quick and kind of wrap up our movie for the most part. So are there any?
I mean, this was where we just got more fatalities, right? We got Jax versus Colonel Raiko. It was interesting because Jax did like the head smash thing, right? He went like that, and his head, General Raiko's head went, and I was like, but you did it on the bridge, like. That bridge is one of the most iconic locations in all of Mortal Kombat because that's the one you do the uppercut and send the guy flying to the spikes. So why would you do a different fatality on the bridge? Why wouldn't you do the uppercut? So
hey, the uppercut belongs to Cole and Cole alone now. Then no one else can uppercut.
Then give Cole somebody else on the bridge. Who did Cole fight here? Who did Cole went to fight Sub-Zero. Yeah, right.
Before he fought Sub-Zero, he fought I'm drawing a blank. Melina.
Oh, he fought Melina.
They double teamed her. Yeah, and
because Sonya killed Kano.
Correct.
And then she got the mark, so then she got her Arcana, which was like the ring, like the bracelets that could then shoot. So she shot Melina right through.
She blew a hole straight through her.
Well, except her spine. Her spine was intact.
Very strong spine.
Very strong spine. Very strong. Everything else was just gone, but the spine that was.
So we get a little bit, and we get the Cabal gets stuck in the quicksand, and then gets eaten by the fire dragon.
Yeah.
So which brings us to the big climactic fight here. The best fight scene. I think we probably both agree on that.
Sure.
So we get our Sub-Zero and the triumphant return of Scorpion, and he was definitely my favorite actor in this. I enjoyed Hanzo, and I'm drawing a blank on his name. Hiroyuki Sanada.
So Sub-Zero had kidnapped Cole's wife and daughter and frozen them in a gym. And so Cole went to get them.
And how come they're alive? How come the other guy's family was dead and frozen, and this guy's family gets to live?
Modern technology.
Okay. That was what did it.
I don't know.
They finally, he has a little fireball to warm them at the end. He's like, finally, I get to do something useful. Here, fire. I've been useful the whole time. Felt like Aquaman in a Justice League sketch. No. Oh, you need someone to talk to fish? I got it, guys. Yeah. Finally, my time to shine. Anyway, but the fight was cool. It was good, right?
Yeah. So we had Cole and Sub-Zero, and then Scorpion kind of came back. And when Scorpion came back, they started the Mortal Kombat theme. They did the dun 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 dun, And then like that was it.
And
I was getting so like hyped up for this moment, like that this is Mortal Kombat. We've got Sub-Zero versus Scorpion, and they gave me like 6 notes of this song that is so iconic. It's like that's the Mortal Kombat theme. Keep it going for this fight. Like, oh my gosh. But no, we just got that, and then they fought, and the fight was cool. It was both of them kind of using their powers. We got the get over here. We got the chains. Here. We got lots of ice stuff. We had a sword fight between Scorpion's sword and Sub-Zero's ice sword. We had Sub-Zero making ice walls and just throwing him through it. We had the part from the trailer where Sub-Zero slices Scorpion and then turns his blood into a dagger and stabs him, and that was really cool. Yeah, I wish that this was more of the movie. And I'm hoping that this will be more of what the sequel is this kind of stuff. And like to this like level, you know, this was like a well choreographed fight. I enjoyed it. It felt brutal. Like I wanted more of this when this movie was over. If I were to go back and watch anything of this movie, it would be this fight right here. And so this is what I want more of. And I'm hoping that now that, you know, they've kind of gotten their footing with this movie, that this is what they'll give us with Mortal Kombat 2.
And this is kind of like where I feel like they really had a missed opportunity, because it's like an origin story where you don't really tell the origin. You know, this would be like the first movie in a Spider-Man trilogy, only we don't really find out how he became Spider-Man or what motivates him to be Spider-Man, or like really any big knowledge about the universe that he lives in.
Yeah.
And they could have given us that. They could have spent more time on like 1 or 2 characters with more training and gone into some of the history of the Mortal Kombat tournaments, introduce people who didn't play the game into who some of these villains are and why they should care, who some of these characters are. Like, you know, talk to, you know, maybe even shown some footage of some past Mortal Kombat tournaments, you know, mystically or VHS, whatever means they wanted to. Could have seen Goro just, you know, ripping people limb from limb. Like, we could have just understood the universe a little bit better, some of the rules of the universe, some of the characters of the universe, and we could have easily cut out a couple of like these little like underwhelming fight scenes and spent more time building up to some of these bigger, more impressive fight scenes, and then spent some of that time in between actually telling a story. I think that would have made for a better movie, and you still would have gotten like some of the same stuff. You still would have gotten, you know, a lot of the same, you know, one-liners and things that would appease fans of the video game.
Sure.
But also bring in a new audience. Like, don't like I don't know, I'm not that excited for a sequel because I was pretty underwhelmed by this first movie, and I feel like in order to enjoy a sequel now I got to go play, you know, 12 different video games to like get a handle on the story, and I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go play all the Mortal Kombats to understand a movie. I don't know. Anyway, that's my take. But the sequel, Johnny Cage is coming. His name is on a poster, so.
Yeah, so then we kind of get the Shang Tsung says, I'm going to, you know, death isn't the end, and I'm going to come back with my armies. And we say, okay. And then he takes off. And then we get Cole back in the same gym. Why is he going back to, I guess he's just clearing out his locker or something like that.
Clearing out his locker, right? Him and his family, they leave nothing behind. Never let it be said that they left an item they own anywhere, whether they're running for their lives or just getting ready to go chase after the next great Mortal Kombat hero.
They
take
thorough.
Every last thing they own.
They are thorough.
I had a sweaty towel and some underwear in this, and I prepared deodorant. I needed to grab this stuff before I go find Johnny Cage.
Yeah, so he doesn't say Johnny Cage. He just says, I'm going to Hollywood.
I'm going on, yeah, and then they have the poster on the wall.
We pan over to a Johnny Cage movie. What was the movie called?
Yeah.
It was called...
Caged Heat.
Caged Heat, was it?
No,
it wasn't. It was something...
It was called Luke Cage.
No, it wasn't. It was...
Raging Cajun.
No, it wasn't.
Rage in the Cage.
My goodness, Charlie.
You can't cage Johnny.
But it was something. We had the big Johnny Cage belt buckle, which I think came in later. He didn't have that when the first couple Mortal Kombats.
Are you a fan of the Johnny Cage character?
I liked Johnny Cage in the first one. I don't think he was in the second one. The second one was like was the height of my Mortal Kombat dumb. I had it on the Sega Genesis. I had every fatality for every single person memorized. All the fatalities, the friendships, the babalities. I don't know how I fit all that in my... how old was I at this point? I was probably 12, my 12-year-old brain.
You had the space back then.
So, I liked him. I thought he was fun. He could do the splits, and punch the guy in the balls, and that was funny because the guy would make a funny motion, But he was fine. I enjoyed him in the 1995 movie. He was kind of the a bit more of the comedy. He wasn't like outright comedy, but he was kind of the like.
He's a little goofier. Yeah.
He was a bit goofier. He's like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm Johnny Cage, so I'm just gonna do this.
Johnny Cage. Yeah.
So it's fine. I look forward to who they're gonna cast. There's already all these like rumors and fan castings coming out, but.
Okay. It's gonna be Tom Holland.
Tom Holland.
He's in everything.
Oh man. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. I don't know. I whenever I played the games, I was always either Scorpion or Sub-Zero because they were the two, I think, easiest to play well without having to know a lot about the game.
Sure. Yeah.
Or cheaply. I don't know. Just use the chains and pull them close.
It was Citizen Cage, fight for your rights.
That's what I said.
Did you?
It's like literally the first thing I said.
No, it was not. Don't give me that. Citizen Cage.
It's not even a good pun. But yeah, all right.
Yeah, no, I think that Sub-Zero and Scorpion are kind of the main characters, and that's one thing with this movie that I was kind of like, why not? And it was the same thing in the 1995 movie, of like, these are the most popular characters. These are ninjas with special powers. Like, why are they not featured more? In the 1995 movie, like, both of them died in the movie. In this one, we get that they're like powerful.
They're both dead.
Scorpion's like barely in the movie, and he was awesome when he was in the movie.
Yep.
But like, he's in it for maybe 5 minutes. Like, Yeah. And Sub-Zero's throughout, and that's cool. But like, I just like, these characters are Mortal Kombat. Like, they really need to be featured more. And that's one of the things that I'm holding out for the sequel, is that they're going to pick up on a lot of this stuff that people are saying about this one, of like, I want more Sub-Zero, I want more Scorpion,
Sure.
I don't care about Cole. Like this. I feel like Mortal Kombat movies are something where it's like, just give us what we want. Like, yeah. I can be very forgiving with a Mortal Kombat movie. Just give me what I want. Like, that's so.
Well, we'll see. So when the sequel comes out, hey, tune back in, and we will be here to tell you all about it.
Charlie can't wait.
Glory. I cannot wait. 2023 it's already marked on my calendar, if that's when it's coming. But yeah, look, it wasn't terrible. You've made me watch worse. At least it was short.
It's true.
Well, if you've made it to this far in the video, let me just say Happy Mother's Day to you, all you mothers out there. This is a great Mother's Day movie. If you haven't watched this yet, consider watching it with your mom. And just, as a way of saying, hey, I love you and you deserve this very mediocre film because that's the kind of mother you are. And then you can practice your chokehold and look, everybody wins. What a lovely Mother's Day. Anything you want to add there, bro?
No, I don't think so. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms. Happy Mother's Day to my mom. Happy Mother's Day to my wife and mother of my kids. Yeah.
I'd say Happy Mother's Day to my wife, but that would also imply that she's watching these. And she is not. So I will say happy birthday to your wife, Brody.
Oh.
Happy Mother's Day, Amy.
Well,
but not to mine.
And for all the moms out there that are watching this, we do have a Mother's Day episode coming out next week.
That's true.
It was going to come out this week, but then HBO moved the date back by 1 week and messed up our whole schedule. So
messed it all up. It's their fault.
That's why we don't have a Mother's Day episode this week, but make sure you tune in next week for our top 10 favorite movie moms of all time.
Boom.
I'm excited for it. It's going to be
I'm
awesome.
excited for that too.
It's going to
be a lot of fun.
It's going to be fun.
HBO notoriously anti-mother, by the way. Very clearly anti-mom.
We're the little guys here. And the big guys, they make those decisions and really hurt the little guy.
They really do. Yeah.
We've had this has been on schedule for at least like 2 months, and then they're like, we're going to shift it back a week, and I'm like, son of a gun! Like,
thanks a lot, HBO.
Come on. So make sure you're back here this time next Wednesday at noon for our top 10 movie moms of all time. It's going to be good.
Yep. I'll give you a hint. Allison from Mortal Kombat is number 1 on my list. Great mom.
I had to think about that for a second, and I was like, oh, there's only one mom.
I'm pretty sure that was her name. The mom from this. Hey, the mom. Anyway. All right. We'll see you next time. And there's links below for some of our other videos. If you have any interest, check them out. We love sharing our time with you guys and really appreciate it. So we'll see you next time.
Adios.